Hi there and welcome back to Jay's Permaculture Allotment. So today I thought I'd do a quick video just to show you what I've been working on. So you're used to seeing the food forest, which is behind me. We'll just come around. So you're used to seeing the food forest that I started back in January. And I'll do a proper November tour. Can't believe it's November already. November tour a little later on this month, and then I will show you the other half to that. But what I've been working on over the last couple of days is, let's just reduce the size, is this one. Now this was basically a bed here, straight line path, bed here, sort of straight line all the way across to the other side, and then fruit trees, and I did have some fencing up here which I was growing some thornless blackberries, then some rhubarb, and there was a huge pile of globe artichokes here. So I think there was 8 plants which have also multiplied a bit. And then you've got some asparagus down the other end. Sorry for all the traffic noise. Okay, and then where this bed is in the center here, that had some perennial broccoli. So I wanted to make this more sort of food forest style because the other section is a lot more productive. So I thought, okay, we've already got some trees established in here, so I've got a few more to arrive. But I decided, okay, I wanted to be able to walk through the whole square section. So let's just do a quick walk around. So say the 8 trees that I've got in here, I actually put in last year. So these ones, the 4 here, were actually transferred from one of my other plots. And so this year they were really just establishing in the ground here. So this one's a conference pear. And although it had tons and tons of flowers and it did actually set loads of fruit, we then had really bad storms which basically blew them all off. So wasn't very happy about that, but hey, that's nature for you. Then the next tree is a Bramley apple. Then I've got 2 other dessert apples. Then I've actually put another artichoke. This one I've grown from seed. All of the artichokes, globe artichokes that I've got are grown from seed. But this one is one of the purple. So the actual flower, the globes are actually purple on these ones. So I already had tansy growing in here. Then I also had mashua. So mashua is one of the ancient tubers, and you can see I've got some here. Actually was having a little dig around. Let's have a look. You can see, so good sized tubers, and these are delicious. You can eat them raw or cooked, and they are part of the nasturtium family, so it is vining. So I did have these on a bamboo pyramid, and it climbed probably about 10 foot. So you can eat the leaves as well as the tubers. So again, on these, over in the UK, we'd be able to actually leave them in the ground over the winter, and they will grow. So if you want a perennial veg, these are a good one. Then I've also got some Greek gigantus beans were again on pyramids over here, but I've cut those back. I haven't decided if I'm going to let them come up back in the same place. I might do, just to give a bit more protection to the trees, but we shall see. Then I've put in some broad beans, or if you're in America, I think they call them fava beans. So these are the overwintering ones. Then I already had some herbs growing on another section of this plot, so I divided them and have scattered them around. So this one here is oregano, which I love. We've got some chamomile. This is a perennial broccoli, so 9-star broccoli it's called. And behind it, this is lemon balm. Again, I grew this from seed, and it grows so easily over here, and it does actually go to seed. I know some countries it doesn't actually get to that stage, but over here it does, so it self-seeds quite easily. But it's a great plant to put around near your trees. Keep some of the negative insects off there. Then I've just got some geums, so flowering plants. Let's just take this there. So geums, so these have lovely yellow flowers that come up on long stalks. And this is Portuguese kale. So majority of this was already in here along this line. So as I said, there was a bed along here, then a path. So this is scarlet kale. Now I actually cut this right back early in the year after it went to seed, and it decided it wanted to come back, so I've let it. Then I've got my fig. I've actually got 2 figs in this section. This is one that I actually grew from seed. It's looking worse for wear because obviously the time of year, being mid-November, it's time for it to lose its leaves. And then I've got a bigger one in front here. So the one at the back I grew from seed. This one's from a cutting, and this is Desert King. And again, it did fruit this year. This is just a cosmos that happened to seed itself in the pot with the fig, so I just let it grow because it's only an annual, so I will soon be able to cut the stem on that one. And I just put a witch hazel, which wasn't enjoying where it was, so I just transplanted it over here. And this is the medicinal one. These are just some broccoli plants. Whether or not they'll come to anything now. It's actually looking as if it's trying to send out its flowers already. So there's some time. And this is, let's zoom out. It's a gooseberry, again from cuttings, because I've got lots of gooseberries already. But there's some cuttings they rooted, so I just put a couple out here. And some calendulas I've just transplanted from the other plots. Then we've got, this one's a hazelnut. And then in the same pot is an avocado. And yes, it loses its leaves, but this actually overwintered last year. So I thought, okay, it's managed to go that far, let's just put it in the ground. So this herb here is calamint, but it doesn't run amok like other mints, so it's not as invasive. This little brassica is another perennial broccoli, but it seems to have a variegated leaf. And again, I've grown this from seed, so it'd be interesting to see the difference between this and the other ones that I have growing. So this is another one of the trees that I planted in here a year and a half ago, and this one's a Victoria plum, and it didn't fruit this year, which I wasn't expecting anyway, but it's really well established now, and it has got fruiting spurs on it, so hoping for some fruit next year. I'll say this is the asparagus patch that was in here. And on next bed, this one's an Asian plum, so it's called Beauty. So it's self-fertile, and again it was too small to actually fruit. I only put this one in this year, so again not expecting anything, and I'm not actually expecting anything next year, but the year after I think it should be large enough. Another little witch hazel in here. Witch hazel starts to come to life now. I don't know if you can see the little green leaf there. This one is a polar berry, which is actually a white blackberry. So we shall see how that does over here. We now have another plum. So this one is opal. So again, we didn't have any fruit on it this year, but the amount of fruiting spurs on it is tremendous. So again, hoping for good things there. We've got another fig here. Now this one, I was cheeky. I actually took a cutting from a huge tree that's actually in Queen Square in Holborn, right in the centre of London. And well, to be fair, the branch was hanging off, so I actually had my clippers with me because I had the intention of taking a cutting anyway. And this is from the cutting, so both shoots out the side are new growth. So I'm not going to let it grow to the size of the one in Queen Square, because it's probably, well, I'd hate to think, it's probably about 50 foot tall. It's taller than most of the buildings around there. This one is Chilean guava. This is just from a cutting, so I've got some more established ones on my other plots, so I took some cuttings, and this is one of those. Some more thyme. Got some shallots coming up. That's just a carrot that was in there, and actually let's just pull it, see if it'll come out. Hey, nice carrot. I say, because I was growing other stuff in these beds, so potatoes and things. So it's a nice carrot there, a little bit kinky at the end, but hey. And this is just a rudbeckia. Is lamb's ear. This one actually had self-seeded over on my other plot, so I just dug it up and moved it over here. Some more fava beans. All the bean families are nitrogen fixers, so they actually take atmospheric nitrogen, so nitrogen that's naturally in the air, and transfer it into nodules into their roots. And then obviously they use that themselves, but other plants can make use of it. So when you actually have finished with beans, don't pull the roots out, actually just cut the stem and let the roots right into the ground, and it releases all of that nitrogen. This is my cat's favourite, cat mint, and you've got a couple of varieties. This is the large leaf one. I do have the smaller version, which is around by my pond, and I'll do a tour of the wildlife section at another time. This one's a feverfew. Again, these are ones that I've transferred over here. Got some more thyme, calendulas, and where this stick is, that's just to mark, so I'm going to be putting a tree in here. Then this one here is a part of the Elaeagnus family, so it's Russian olive. It's not part of the olive family, but it is a nitrogen fixer as well, but it produces edible fruit. Again, nitrogen fixer as well. And growing in the same pot was also, I think this is a willow. I've got a few weeping willows, just miniature ones, around by the wildlife pond, and the leaves on this look virtually identical, so I'm thinking that's what it is. And this is Korean lime pepper. Now, I've been told that this one's self-fertile, but upon reading on further, I'm not 100% sure that it is, so we shall have to wait and see. But the good thing is the leaves are useful as well. You can use the leaves for flavouring as well. And normally they're evergreen, but I'm not sure if it was not enjoying the situation it was in on the other plot, so I've transferred it. So it's part of the Szechuan pepper family, but it's the Korean lime pepper. Very hardy, can go down to -20, so no problems over here in the UK. So another fruit tree. So this one's a KT apple, and again this one's been in about 1.5 years now. So it actually fruited the very first year that I put it in. Only a couple of apples, but then this year I thought it didn't really get too well established that first year, so I removed the flowers so it could actually put the energy into the growth, which I would recommend anyone who's putting in bare root trees in their first year. If they go to flower, I know it's very tempting to leave it to fruit, as I did on this one, but it tends to take away the energy from the actual growth of the tree. So that's why this year I decided to actually remove the flowers to allow it to focus on its growth. And it looks as if there's some fruiting spurs on here, so I shall let it flower and fruit this coming year, all being well. And then down here, this is just some Nigella, which love in the mist. So it's the pollinators love it. It has this lovely, this one is the blue variety, lovely flowers on fairly long stems, and the seed pods are also really attractive, and the seeds are even edible. You can buy the seeds for eating in a lot of the Asian shops. I've not tried eating them. This is goji berry, so I've got some mature goji plants on the other plot, so I just took some cuttings. Goji cuttings grow really easily. I don't think I've had one fail me yet. And this is just where we had the bulk lot of the globe artichokes. I've removed 2 from here because they was getting a bit too close to the KT apple, and I didn't want them taking away all the energy from the tree. And also they grew to about 8 foot tall. Now, I've never known globe artichokes to grow that tall, so they must obviously be enjoying what they're growing in. So I'll do the update tour of the other food forest section over the next couple of days, so watch out for that one. And as I do other jobs, I'll also keep you posted on those. So if you haven't already checked it out, I did my Hugel Mound build video, and you'll see the existing one as well as the new one that I've just created yesterday. So we're midway through November now, so it's going to be interesting to see how everything develops next year when we reach spring. So I do want to have a few plants in here that will come to life in spring, so I'll probably put a few bulbs in. And as I say, I've got a few more trees to come. So on order I have a Stella cherry tree, which I've already got several of, but they're good ones to have. I have a Concord pear because I have 2 conference pears and I have an Asian pear, but I thought I'd have a Concord one just to put in the mix. Then I've got, I'm just trying to remember the name of it, it's a plum tree, but I can't remember the variety off the top of my head. And then I've got 2 apple trees in with that as well, one being a Granny Smith and again I can't remember the other one, but it was a special offer, 5 trees for £29 from Gardening Express. So I've gone for that, and I thought I've got plenty of space still. I know I have now probably got about 60 trees, fruit trees, but you can never have too many trees. So there we have it. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will be posting some more regular videos. While we're on lockdown, it gives me a bit more time to crack on, do some jobs, and I'll also make sure I get some filming done as well. So until then, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you soon.